Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Today we are going to be learning about describing data with pandas in pandas data analysis. Okay, so again, if you are stuck, you can go to Stack Overflow or the pandas documentation. You'll find loads of information over there. So so here is what we have done so far. So first, if you want to actually learn about pandas, you want to launch your Jupyter Notebook, okay? And we have done this much progress so far. And today we are going to be learning about describing data with pandas, since we have already done the introduction. Now, I have already launched my Jupyter Notebook, but if you want to know how to launch it again, let's just wait for it to come up. Okay, so, oh my goodness, here it is. If you want to learn how to launch Jupyter Notebook, you say contact activate and then the file path of your Jupyter Notebook, and then you type in Jupyter Notebook after that. Okay, so let's actually go to our Jupyter Notebook. So here is where we left off last time, and today we are going to be learning about describing data with pandas. Now you can use Markdown, so I'm going to type this in Markdown, describing data with pandas. There we go. So today we're going to be describing data with the pandas library. Okay. So how do we do this? So in the previous video, we learnt about creating data frames, importing data. Now we are going to be describing data with this stationary cells data frame. So if we type in stationary cells, here you can have a beautiful data frame over here with all our stationary cells. So let's actually start learning about, let's actually start describing our data. So the first thing you can do is use stationary cells dot dtypes. Now, before we discuss the outputs, as you can see here, we have these brackets after this over here, after this read CSV over here, but this one doesn't. So what's the difference? Okay, so the actual difference is that the stuff. So dtypes. So if I go to, so dtypes is actually a attribute because it doesn't have any brackets around it, but read CSV is a function because it does have brackets after it. So keep that in mind. So back to here, you know how we ran this, how we use this attribute dtype. So it gave us each data type of each column. So what kind of data type was each column. So the first one, type, is an object because it is some words. After that, we've got objects because this is some words again. We've got float 64, which is our length in centimeters, and this is a decimal point. Cost is an object as well. Even though it has numbers, it has a pound sign, and that doesn't count as a number, so it will say it's an object. So it'll count it as some words, okay? So don't worry for now. We will fix that later. So there is also a function, not an attribute, called describe in pandas. So we can say, not car, why do I keep on writing car? Stationary cells dot describe, okay? And remember to put the brackets because it's a function. You don't need to pass in anything. And it just describes only one column. And this is because pandas can only describe numbers. Okay, so it is telling us everything. So the count, so how many elements are there? There's 8 elements. So 0 counts as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so there's 8 elements, and that's count. The mean of all the elements in our length column is this much, and we've got 25% of it, 50%, the max, the minimum, and all of that. So it will only describe integers. Okay. There is also a function called DotInfo, and it shows a lot of useful information about a data frame. Okay, so it shows you information like how many rows there are, whether there are missing values, and it shows the data type of each column. So let's use this function. We need to say stationary cells dot info. Okay, stationary cells dot info, and it is saying it is the class DataFrame. It has 8 rows, and the indexes are 0 to 7. It has 4 columns. So if we check stationary cells again, we'll see that we'll check if all the data is correct. Okay, so let's check it. So let me zoom out so we can actually check. Okay, sorry, that's a bit. Okay, so we have got, it is a class data frame. Yes, that is true because this is a data frame. It is saying it's got 8 columns. 1, 2, 3, it's got 8 rows, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, correct. It has indexes 0 to 7, there's 0 to 7, beautiful. How many columns? It has 4 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, good. And it's telling us all the columns and the indexes of each column. So there is a so the first one is type, so index 0. It has 8 non-null objects. Now this means they're not missing, they are there. So they so 8 existing columns, and that column is a object data type. The color is the same as well, except it's got index 1. 2 is a float, it's the same, it's got index 2. 3 is the same as type and color, and it has index 3. Okay, so info gives us much more information. Okay, so we can also find out the mean of a data frame column. So we can say stationary cells dot mean. Remember to add your brackets. So it's saying the length in centimeter, so because that is the only integer, that is the only numbers. Those are because all the ones over here are numbers, so it is only calculating the mean of that. The mean is 15.25, and the data type of this column is a float. Okay, we can also call mean on a series. So let's create a series really quickly. We can just say food. Actually, no, you can just say nums, short for numbers. Nums is equal to pd dot series. So this is how we create a series with pandas. What numbers? I'll just put 3, 5, 9. Okay, so we can do the mean of this too. So I can say nums dot mean, and we've got our mean. Okay, so we can also call the sum of a data frame. Okay, so I can say stationary cells dot sum. Okay, so this actually looks really confusing, but basically the sum of type is all of these added together. So it says pencil, ruler, pen, rubber, all of it added together. Color the same. Length in centimeters, it comes more reasonably like that. Cost, it comes like this as well. Okay, so kind of confusing. But you can call the sum on a series as well, so it's more clearer. So I can say nums dot sum. I get 17. Okay, so calling if we call this on a whole data frame, so if we call these two methods like mean and sum, it won't really give us on a whole, if we do on a whole data frame, it won't really give us that much information. So you can also use an attribute called column. So I can say, why do I keep on saying car? Stationary cells. Oh, I put 2 underscores there, didn't I? Stationary sales dot column. So this time we're accessing an attribute, so we don't need to put any what's it called? Don't need to put any brackets. Okay, so here we've got index, type, color, length in centimeters, cost. Okay, and it is giving us data type object, even though length in centimeters is a float, but it'll give us the it'll give us the most occurred data type, so which is object. Okay, so we can also what we can do is we can also look at we can also store this over here, so we can also store our columns in another variable. So I can say stationary columns is equal to stationary cells dot columns. Okay, if we say that and then we call stationary columns, we get this. So we don't need to keep on writing this over and over again. It can be pretty useful. Okay, we can also access each one. So remember, the first object, the first element of a series will always be index 0. So if we want to access the first one, we can say stationary cells, actually not stationary cells, stationary columns, and then put brackets what index. Okay, so it'll give me the first one, which is type. We can also put index 1, color, index 2, length, index 3, cost. Okay, so that works perfectly. Now we can also look at all the indexes, so we can also use an attribute called index. So stationary cells dot index, and it'll say range index start 0, stop 8, step 1. Okay, so what does this mean? So it is saying the index of a row with the index of each column is start 0, stop 8. So if we call our data frame here, we can just call it, so stationary cells. Okay. If we call it, we've got indexes from 0 to 8. So it may seem confusing, but it is basically saying 0 to 10. So 8 kind of rows, step 1. Okay, so what does step 1 mean? If we look at this anatomy of a data frame, you can see axis is equal to 1. So that is what it means, column. Okay, so step 1 is basically a column. Okay, so don't get confused if you see that. Okay, oh my goodness, why am I zooming in so much? Okay, so there we go. Let me just zoom in. Oh, how do you zoom in? There you go. So let me just zoom in. There we go. So now if we try to, we can also save, what was I going to say, sorry. We can also find the length of our stationary cells. So we can say len, short for length. What was I going to do again? Len, stationary cells. Okay, so length of our stationary cells, it says 8 because there are 8 kind of rows. Okay, so we have now learned how to describe data using the Pandas library. In the next video, we are going to be learning about viewing and selecting data using the Pandas library. Okay, so if you like this video, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel. If you have any doubts or suggestions, please comment them in the comment section below or in the discussion section in my channel. Okay, so I guess that is the end of this video. Bye!